Good evening, everybody. I hope you have all worn your heavy winter clothes tonight. It's cold here in Pittsburgh. Gonna get 2 or 3 inches of snow. All right, tonight we're doing what everybody requests is how do we do our scans? And fortunately, Metastock and I hooked up can't remember how many years ago, but Metastock is probably your best scanning software. And the reason for that is we have already, over the past few years, and I'll let Jeff go into it more, we've set up the scans for identifying the 12 major signals as well as some of our big or our patterns. And the nice thing about Metastock is, like, you can set up your stocks for your own universe to do your scanning, but the formulas are already over there with Metastock. I mean, they're already in place. So essentially, we're looking for these type of signals. Let me get your belt holds, your best friend, and this is a process where we can identify the morning star signals. Can scans be done one after the other? Yes. Jeff's gonna come on after I get done here real quick and go through all the applications that Metastock can do for you. And if I'm not incorrect, I think not only does Metastock do all the scans for stocks here in the U.S., but all over the world. They've got the feeds for oh boy, William, 191 exchanges. All right. So essentially, we can do quick scans, and I hate to tell this story, but before the scan software came along, when I was when I was first doing candlesticks, I was in Houston, Texas, and we had what was called a SOS trading room. That was the where the electronic trading just came on. But for me to do my scans, I would go over to the office on a weekend. And in the summertime in Houston, it's hot, and they didn't have the air conditioner on. So I'd be sitting for hours in this little room was all windows, just like a baking room. And I hate to tell you where my attire finally got down to, but I would go through 4 or 5 hours of going through charts and uh, uh, trying to find the best chart patterns for everybody to trade coming in the coming week. Now using these scans, which obviously have been greatly enhanced over the years, I can do what took me 4 or 5 hours in a hot, sweaty room in a matter of 2, 3, 4 minutes every afternoon. So what we're identifying is the candlestick signals and looking for them at the appropriate places, like a bullish Harami, right smack dab on the at the 50 in the oversold area, gives us a high probability trade setup. Whoops, went the wrong way. Bullish Harami, followed by a gap up right off the moving averages. Essentially what we're doing is not only identifying where the strong signals are, but once we do our analysis or our scans for the reversal signals, we can also pick out the better ones that are occurring right on a major support or resistance level, both on the bullish side or the bearish side. A big bearish engulfing signal occurring right at the 200-day moving average, closing back below the T line. So essentially, we're taking all the parameters that we were looking for. This is why we went after ADX or AXDX yesterday, getting ready for it because we know what a bearish flutter kicker signal looks like. The warning was that when they gapped us down below the previous day's open and did a doji, all we have to do now is take our doji rule into effect, and if it started trading lower, what do we got setting up? The potential of a bearish flutter kicker signal. So we can either be shorting it sometime here or on a weaker open tomorrow. Paul, I'll let you ask Jeff that. Jeff was going to go through this. There he's already answered you. So if I'm looking for the best friend, I'm looking for the power signals, which we've put into the Metastock scanning. I'm looking for the best friend, like we saw in Apple a while ago. Doji gap up. That's your best friend. That's going to create a strong price move. That means tomorrow, LPSN becomes a highly profitable prospect because today it did a doji gap up. Doji gap up out of a very indecisive trading. What's this tell you? That indecisiveness has disappeared. They've made a decision. Or going to the bearish side. Overbought area. Bearish best friend. What's this overall trend? Down. Now they're kicking it. They're doing a best friend signal. High probability they're going to take it lower. And we've got all the pattern scans, or a good number of pattern scans built in. And why do we like the patterns? They've got two benefits. First, if we can see in this case the classic coming out of a fry pan bottom, J hook, we can identify, or the scanning will identify this. Now, why do we go after patterns? Because patterns are usually going to produce a much bigger return based upon the force that's already built into that pattern. That's exactly why we I forgot what I was saying. The reason we're going after the patterns is there's going to be a lot of uptrending stocks in an uptrend. Again, the old adage that all boats rise in a rising tide. Patterns are usually going to produce a much stronger price move to the upside. So we flip it to where not only do we want to be in the boats in the rising tide, we want to be in the fastest boats rising in that rising tide. Or definitely making hay while the sun shines, using another. So we're looking for searches that are setting us up to get ready for that next move. We know what should be happening out of a J-hook pattern or upside. That's why we want to identify these setups. Again, tech. We're anticipating a breakout, which it didn't do today. But that's because if we can identify searches, look what happened right here at this breakout level. There's our bullish doji sandwich. So what's our simple applied analysis to this? Well, if we see that there's a resistance level, we can see there's a J-hook type pattern setting up. Then we see there's a doji right smack dab on that resistance level, and we put in our simple analysis of the doji rule that if it opens positive, it's probably going to move positive, creating a doji sandwich. What's that tell us about our breakout level? They've broken out. It's usually going to create not only a good trade, but a good trend after that. So anytime, this is why we recommended mid yesterday. There was our bobble breakout. What's a bobble breakout? A bobble is a better visually identified J-hook pattern. You've got a J-hook pattern, and you can see where it resisted the first time, right smack dab on the 200. And then when it came back up through the 200, what do we got? If you took out the 200, you can easily see you've got a J-hook pattern. The 200 resistance level just makes it that much more visually pliable, I guess is the right word. So ANAV, we put this in our portfolio a while back because we can identify the fry pan bottom. And where is the fry pan bottom going to give you good results? Once we've identified it, we know if it came up through the beginning of that fry pan bottom, what do we do from that point? All we have to do is stay long as long as it stays above the T-line. So fry pan bottom have expected results. Today, ARDM coming out of this fry pan bottom closed just above the breakout level. This becomes a very good high probability trade that it's going to go much higher, maybe the same magnitude as this right here. And why is that? Because investor sentiment is building up. And remember, we are usually identifying the signal, reversal signals, when stochastics are in the oversold area. We're usually taking advantage of the pattern breakouts when our stochastics are probably in the overbought area. So instead of searching for hours every night, Jeff will show you how to use the signals we've already got built into their system. There's our Morningstar signals, smack dab on the 50-day moving average with stochastics in the oversold area. What makes this a high probability trade? If it opens positive tomorrow, what's it telling us about the T-line? That the T-line's not going to act as resistance, number one. Number two, it's confirming our Morningstar signal. That gives you a good probability that you're now starting your next wave. And for those of you that have sat through our stop loss processes, if we know that it opens positive, we know what the probabilities are. It should be moving higher. So if it opens positive, what don't we want to see? Number one, we don't want to see it close back below the T-line. Or number two, we definitely don't want to see it close back below the halfway point of the candle that told us the bulls were in control. Again, this is just very simple logic utilized by the Japanese rice traders. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Jeff. Jeff and I have been working together on these, I can't even remember how many years now, Jeff, you've had to put up with me. So with that, Rick, I'm going to close out my screen and we'll let Jeff put up his screen, which ought to take a minute. So if anybody has any questions, this would be a good time to okay.
Hey, Steve, you cut out a little bit on me. Were you trying to turn it over to me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry about that. It seems like I lost internet for like about 10 or 15 seconds. So hopefully that's our technical difficulty. It just started spinning for me. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and kind of show you how this thing works. Steve, appreciate your time. Thank you for kind of talking a little bit about that. Let me go ahead and start the screen sharing application. I have a little bit of some stuff to show. And hopefully we won't run into any internet issues at all. Let's go ahead and go to monitor 2 right now. All right, Steve, can you see that?
Everybody, yep. Okay. Everybody, Jeff Gibby, one of my good friends, and he is the marketing person for probably one of the best, if not the best, scanning software out there. Take it away, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. Good. Thank you for coming tonight, everybody. Steve, thanks for the introduction. And I do want to say, I believe it was about 4 years ago we developed CPS, and I remember it very, very fondly. We were, I know that my programmer and Steve probably spent about 12 or 15 hours at least in the conference room on a webcast, kind of tweaking patterns and getting it exactly ready. Are you guys having issues hearing me? I can adjust it up. David, is that better for you? Okay. Okay. If it's too low, let me know. I'll bring it up a little bit. In any case, to give you a little bit of background on me, I've worked for Metastock for 20 years in March. It's a great job, but one of the things I love to do is I love to work with people like Steve. Steve and I worked to put together quite a list of patterns and quite a list of the candle patterns into Metastock. And it's a product I've been quite frankly very, very proud of. It's been rated as one of the best products by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine multiple times now. It's been extremely popular both with our users as well as like the students of Candlestick Forum. And it's just a product that I'm incredibly proud of. Steve did a lot of work to help us get this exactly right. And it's one of those few products that I actually use on a day-to-day basis to help me with my actual trading. So there you go. In any case, today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. I have to read that out loud. In any case, I do want to show you. Am I still sounding muffled, guys? Let me know. If the sound is good, say good. If it's muffled, say muffled, and hopefully I'm broadcasting. If so, that'll be really, really good. Thank you, Warren. Okay. All right. We did create, there's a couple of things I'm going to show you today. I did just recently create a fairly simple single-day pattern scanner. It identifies about 9 patterns from 9 of Steve's favorite 12 patterns. And it's something that we're going to provide to you for free. So to get it, it's a Dropbox link. I'm going to show you kind of how it works. And then I'm going to show you in kind of the second part how the full add-on for Steve works. But if you want to grab that and you have Metastock, there you can actually key this into an internet browser. Let me see. It'll take you to a Dropbox link, and you can simply go up and get it. In fact, I'll go ahead and place the expanded link here. Okay. So if you have Metastock, you can just install this. It's free of charge. You can get it. Now, if you want to get a free trial of Metastock, let's say you don't have Metastock, you can sign up for a free trial. You can do that at metastock.com/candlestickforum. Basically allow you to get a total free month of Metastock. You can play with it. This single-day pattern scan is something that you can use. It's yours forever for free. And I'm going to start with that once I'm kind of done showing you exactly how that works, a full-blown product. So we'll go ahead and start with kind of the single-day pattern scan. So in any case, let me go ahead and swap over to my Metastock screen. I might sound a little bit muffled. That also might be my voice. I seem to be getting a little bit beklempt right now. So, but in any case, the single-day pattern is going to show up once you install it as the CPS single-day pattern scans. Now, right now I'm in the scanning console of our software. We call it the Explorer. And basically, you can see I've already run a little bit of a report that I'm going to show you in just a second. The monthly fee for Metastock is, well, for a DC version, it starts at $59 per month. It's also been rated the best software in its price category for 24 years in a row by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine. So this will give you a little bit of idea of how it works. Today we're going to be talking about mostly charting and scanning, okay? But you can also do testing with it. You can do forecasting. We're not going to talk as much about that because it's all about scanning today, okay? So right here we've got the single-day patterns. If you hover over it, it's going to say this exploration is defined to find Steve's favorite single-day patterns. You may find the Equus Candlestick Expert Advisor helpful in looking at the charts with this exploration. So let me show you exactly how you would run this. So what I want to do is I'll go ahead and select this as a scan to run. Okay. And what I'll do is I can come down here into the list. This down here is a list of the securities that are available for me. Now, to give you an idea of the markets that we actually cover, we cover about 381,847 stocks. Okay? Now, that's stocks, that's futures, that's Forex markets. If you're in Asia, like Australia, for example, you can click on this Asia Pac area and you'll be able to find the market that you're interested in. If you're in I know somebody was saying it's 3 a.m. here in Sweden. If you're out over in Europe and you want to be able to apply this to like your Swedish stocks or your London stocks, you can literally just click in here, find the exchange that you're interested in. Let's just say that it's London. Put a check mark right here, and it'll go ahead and scan through all 4,600 stocks in the London Stock Exchange. Okay. If you're if you're here in the United States and you want to do like optionables, you can select all of the optionable stocks just by clicking right here. You can do ETFs, that's a category you can pick. You could do all the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, or the Amex as well. They also have some breakdowns, so if you want to go in and just scan maybe like the S&P 500, you can certainly do that within this index constituents list. You can come down here and you can find a specific list that it would just be the S&P 500, for example. And it covers Forex and stocks. And you can see very, very easily, if I'm an ETF and an optionable stock trader, I just put two little check marks here. I define right here that I want to scan for daily. I can change that too, by the way. And I can just click on Start Exploration. It's going to go ahead and run that scan for me. Now, it does take a few minutes to run, and I've already ran it because I didn't want to kind of sit here be trying to entertain you for a couple minutes. But when you get it back, basically the way the report is going to be structured for the single day patterns, which is again the scan that we're going to let you have for free, is what you're going to see. The scan that I ran was about 2,400 stocks. Okay, and what you're going to see here is just a list. This is engulfing bell, engulfing bear, hammer, inverted hammer, hanging man, shooting star, morning star, evening star, and doji. Okay, so if it has a 1 in this column, it's basically going to tell you there's an engulfing bearish signal. Okay, if there's a hammer in here, it's going to basically have a 1 in this column. If you're looking for an inverted hammer, it'll have a 1 in the column. So let's say we just wanted to kind of take a look at one that had an engulfing bear. There's about 9 of them on here. I can actually go ahead and open the chart up from here, and what I'll do is we'll just kind of take a look at the chart. Okay, and here it is on a daily basis. Here was that engulfing pattern that we saw, really big drop on this stock. One of the experts that you might want to look at, now this is in candles, I want to actually change that, so I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to go to and just define it as a candlestick chart, click on OK, and there we can see a very, very pronounced engulfing bull. Now, if you noticed in the scan, it said you might want to use the Equus Candlesticks Expert Advisor with this scan. So let me show you how that works exactly. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy right here in the top hat. This is our Expert Advisor. It's going to be very obvious when I attach the expert what this is going to do for my chart. So I'm going to come to Equus Candlesticks. Okay, I'll go ahead and click on Attach. I'll go ahead and click on Close. And you'll notice it's going to identify that engulfing bearish pattern on the chart. So out of the 2,400 stocks, there's about 7 or 8 that had one of those most powerful signals that Steve talks about. It's this engulfing bearish hammer. This candlestick expert is going to identify 30 or so of the actual individual daily patterns. So you'll see there's a rising window here, an engulfing bull here, a hammer here, an on neckline, an engulfing bear. You can also come in here and it'll kind of give you a little bit of a commentary. Like, so for example, if I go to View Expert Commentary, right here on this engulfing bear, it's going to tell me bearish line occurred. It tells me what that is. The engulfing bearish pattern is bearish during an uptrend, which appears to be the case. It signifies that the momentum may be shifting from the bulls to the bears. If the engulfing bearish pattern occurs during a downtrend, it may be a last engulfing bottom, which indicates a bullish reversal. So the scan we built, basically the scan is just a CPS single day patterns. The expert advisor that I'd recommend you pair it with is called Equus candlesticks. It'll just define the patterns for you. And again, it's just something that we designed for free. If you want to grab it, you can get it at this link. Okay, let me go back to this. This link here will take you to the link that you need to get the thing. You do need to have Metastock to run it. The scan doesn't have any expiration. You can use it for as long as you want. And it's going to find 9 of those single-day patterns. Paul asked, David T says, what is the maximum number of stocks that you... There's a lot of questions, guys. So I'm going to do my best to answer as many of them as I can. But what is the maximum number? There's no maximum. You can scan as many as you want. Okay? Is there an optional feature? I think, Mark, you're asking if I can scan for options, and you can scan for options. Paul says, can you identify doji, gap up, or kicker signals? We're going to talk about that in part 2, Paul. I noticed that the daily scan candles, they're not all on the CPS template, such as engulfing bear. Are you recommending that we use the candlestick expert instead? Yes. For any of the single-day patterns, we haven't incorporated those into the full product yet. So if you want to get a good explanation of those, the candlestick expert is good. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit, Paul. Can you scan from Canada to find Australian stocks, or you must be in the country of origin, Australia? No, you can scan Australia if you want to, Lucien. If you're in Canada and you want to look at Australian mining stocks, yeah, you can. As long as you've got that as your primary data region, you can scan anything you want to. There's no kind of limitations there. I'm going to scroll up and see if there's some questions that I missed. What do you mean by single-day patterns? These are just patterns that kind of form in one day, like an engulfing bearish pattern. Okay? That's what I mean by it. I had to think of a way to name it, so that's what I did. In this particular case, CV, what we're scanning for are patterns that happen in a single day. Okay? So, again, it's a little bit of a freebie. You can grab it. It's a little bit of a scan that'll identify 9 of those 12 major patterns. Yes, Phil, you can use it on a weekly basis. Like, for example, if we pop this up to weekly, we're going to see there was a hammer here. You'll see the rising window. You'll see the engulfing bull. If you want to run a scan against a weekly chart, well, back here in the Power Console, what you'll do is you'll just change the interval right here to weekly, and it'll scan the weekly chart. Okay? Works perfectly on any time frame that you want to apply to it. Great questions, guys. So, anyway, that's just a bit of a freebie. You can have it for free. If you need Metastock, I'd recommend you try it. I wouldn't trade without it. And you can get a trial for free, basically, at metastock.com/candlestick forum. Okay. So let's talk about the other part of it. That's just something that we put together. It's brand new. Go ahead and grab it. The other thing that I want to really spend a little bit of time tonight on is the actual candle profit system add-on that we built with Steve Bigalow. And the reason I want to show that is it has been a tremendously successful product in terms of sales revenue, but also in terms of people using it. I like to talk a lot about CPS because it's a product that I love the Doji Best Friend pattern personally. But I'll show it in a lot of the classes that I actually go and teach. And I was up in Toronto earlier this year, and or was it? Yeah, it was Toronto. I'm pretty sure it was Toronto. And I was kind of talking about candle profit systems, and a guy came up after the class and said, you know what, this is the only product I use to trade. It works so well. That's not unusual. I get that kind of feedback about CPS all the time. And it's just a product that works very, very well, which is why Steve does such a good job with what he does. And he tells better jokes than I do. The product basically consists of 20-ish patterns. This is a list of the patterns and how we've got them identified in the thing. So you'll see fry pan, you'll see bullish and bearish bolt holds, you'll see dumpling tops, you'll see cradles, you'll see slow curves, you'll see T-line crunch, you'll see scoop. You'll see the doji dynamites, you've got your power signals, and you've got your J-hook and your fry pan bottom. I want to show you exactly what that means for you on a chart and how you scan for those patterns as well, how you can kind of use that to, again, go in and identify exactly the patterns. So Let's go ahead and switch back into Metastock. I'm going to go ahead. I've got a couple charts that I was kind of looking at a little bit earlier. I'm going to go ahead and close this commentary for now. And I'll go ahead and close this chart down as well. I think I have a chart open here at Boeing Company. Okay, this is on a weekly basis. And what I've done is I've applied the template that's called CPS Bigalow Chart View. Okay, what that does for me is it attaches all of the moving averages that Steve uses, as well as the stochastic oscillator, the T-line, the 3T line, I believe this is a 20, 50, 200. So it automatically sets up the chart, but in addition to that, it attaches the Bigalow Expert Advisor called CPS Chart View. Okay, and with that, you'll notice as soon as we do that, you're going to see the bull kicker here on the chart. You'll see this J-hook pattern that happened, and we can kind of go back in time. Any of those patterns that were on this list, any of these 20 patterns, are automatically going to be identified on the chart for you and labeled. Okay, so here we've got a fry pan bottom, got a dumpling top that occurred here. Those are just automatically going to be labeled for you. It does also work with multiple time frames, so we can kind of go down to a daily basis on Boeing and see how that worked as well. You see, just about 3 days ago, we had kind of this bull kicker that formed. Before that, we had a bull kicker. Here was a slow curve, the bull kicker, the left-right bullish, and it just kind of labels and identifies them. We can kind of go back and kind of see how well they worked. One of the things I really like about this is with all of those patterns, we also kind of put together a bit of a pattern definition. And so we can go in there and we can, it's like a little bit like having Steve helping us kind of remember what we should do with a bull kicker, minus all the good jokes. Like, so for example, if I look into the Expert Advisor here, I'm going to go ahead and click on View Expert Commentary. And by default, the commentary is going to be looking at this very last part of the day. Okay, so if I wanted to see what I want to actually see what it would have said on a pattern day, I'm going to move this triangle over to this bull kicker day. Okay, and then that way I can tell you exactly what's happening on a chart. The bull kicker presents consistent trading opportunities for long positions. This signal is even more powerful when it forms at a major support level. The larger the dark candle at the bottom is, the more powerful the reversal. Your exit strategy should be swift upon any trading below the open of the previous day's candle body. It's telling you exactly what you should do. If you go ahead and get long, it's telling you should put a stop underneath the body of the candle before. And then we kind of tell you exactly what the criteria is that we're looking for with this bullish kicker. So in this particular case, we're looking for one, a moderate to large dark candle that appears at the end of a downtrend. The next day, after that happens, prices gap open at or above the previous day's open when an upward trend continues. Okay, this enhancements is for when you run a scan. If a kicker so if you run a scan and you get a list of the securities that you want, basically what this is going to tell you is, okay, I've got a list of 15 bullish kickers here. Which one should I be looking at more closely? Well, here's what makes that a better signal. If a kicker signal forms at a major support level, or the bigger the dark candle at the bottom, the more powerful. So I've already got some criteria that I can look at with the scan. Gary asked, could you look at NKE on a daily chart? You bet. We're on a daily chart. One of the things about Metastock is you can jump to a chart anytime you want to, just by typing in the symbol. When I start to type in a symbol, it happened on my other screen, but I just started to type a search, and it basically will give you a list of all of the stocks that are available. So literally all you have to do is type in the symbol that you want and hit enter. It's going to go ahead and change the chart view for you. Okay. In this particular case, on a daily basis, the last pattern that I see that we actually recognized was this bearish kicker right here before this dramatic downward move. We didn't see anything towards the long side since then. This is the last signal that we had. Okay. What it would have said right before that dramatic downward move, though, is it's a bearish kicker. It's an excellent shorting opportunity. Nothing really recently on Nike that's one of those 20 patterns. Okay. Paul says, is this mostly for Warden TC2000, or does it work with other trading platforms? It works with Metastock, Paul. So if you're not familiar with Metastock, Metastock's a product that we built here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's a software program that's been rated #1 for 24 years in a row, and that's what the charts that we're looking at. It comes with its own data. You can use your Warden data with Metastock if you want to. Most of our customers actually use our data for it. So it's a separate product. Thank you for the question. Rick says, I already use the software, and when I scan for the fry pan and bring up the chart and attach the template, an expert advisor will sometimes say the fry pan and it's not there. What you want to be, with Rick, what you want to do with that is when you're opening up the chart, we'll just talk about that real quickly. Make sure you're opening it up with at least 1,500 records. When you're running your fry pan bottom scan, you want to run it with 1,500 records. If you do that and you're still seeing those issues, contact me, okay? Ben, yes, you can apply this to cryptocurrencies as well. Joe, I believe the minimum criteria that Steve recommends is $5 and higher. So if it doesn't trade, and with a certain volume amount. There's actually a pre-filter scan that you can run that'll actually build a universe that kind of fits his criteria. Let me look at, and I'm just going to cheat right now because I don't remember exactly what those are. So I'm going to look at this, this scan. He's looking for the close to be greater than 5 and for the volume to be at least more than 200,000. Okay. If you, AJ, to answer your question, yeah, it doesn't call every big move up. That's for sure. There will be some that it misses. That, Gary, no question there. AJ, to answer your question, if I have a data feed from TC2000, can I use it with Metastock? Yes, you can. Okay. And what I would recommend that you do is when I show you how to get this, you'll get data that comes included with it, because we'll give you a free trial with your purchase for Metastock. So then you can kind of go in and evaluate it. You can use it with our data, and you can use it with TC2000 data. And if you like it, before your trial's up, just do a purchase of the software, which is a one-time cost. It's $4.99. It's $4.49 as a one-time cost. So, and then you can use it with whatever data feed that you want, AJ. But what I would recommend that you do is actually just do the trial, see if you like it. If it helps you trade, buy it and use it with your data feed, or use it with the Reuters data. NP says, does it identify the patterns as shown on the screen with the text on the chart and the info to the right? Yes, we're looking at a live chart right now. So exactly what you're seeing right now is exactly what you would get. Exactly as shown. Now, you may not, when you initially open it up, you might not see this commentary. And to open up that commentary window, just go to View, Expert Commentary. That'll open up this window. You can move this window too, by the way. If you want it on the other side, you can have it on the other side. But this is exactly the way the product will look for you. Okay? Will the software search for stocks demonstrating specific characteristics, i.e. stocks in a fry pan bottom mode? Baron, I am glad you asked. That actually transitions us exactly. That's a good question, because the whole point is how can I focus on the stocks that actually have an opportunity? One of the things that's incredibly frustrating is not being able to find the stocks that kind of have an opportunity today. Obviously, we didn't have a noticeable pattern right there in Nike. We haven't had a pattern for a while. But how do we find ones? How do we find a pattern? So I'm going to go back into that scanning tool I was using earlier. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Power Console here, and I'm going to click on this Explore button. Okay, and you'll notice what we've got, because there's so many patterns that are in there. What we've got here is we've got broken up into the same categories that I showed you earlier. So these categories, you've got your Doji Dynamites, your price patterns, your power signals, and your J-hook patterns. This is how they're broken up into scans. Now, if you want to, you can run all of these scans all at the same time. You just basically select all 4 of them, and you can run them all against a list if you want. Okay? So in this particular case, though, if I hover over a specific instrument, it's actually going to tell me what this scan is going to look for. So Doji at the top, Doji best friend, left-right bullish combo, left-right bearish combo, series of Doji followed by a bullish or bearish breakout. Okay. J-hook will look for your J-hook patterns. Power signals will look for your basically your flutter kickers. Your price patterns are going to be like your fry pan, your belt hold, your bearish bolt hold, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Now, I've actually run this, and I've run this against the pre-filter list. So what I do is once a quarter, I'll go through and I'll basically run this universe scan. Okay, this universe scan, what it does is it makes a list of all the stocks that are under or above $5 and have a minimum average volume of 200,000 shares a day. Okay, and then what I'll do is, okay, so I'll go into this report, just kicks out a big list of stocks, right, that technically hit your criteria. Okay, I'll save this list, and what I'll save it to is this list that's called the pre-filtered list of securities. 494 of them on this list. So when I'm running my daily scans for like my Doji best friend, basically I'm running against just this list that's been pre-filtered down. So the way that looks like in the software is basically select the scans that I want to use. Personally, I usually use these. I'm looking for Doji best friends. That's my favorite pattern. And then what I'll do is instead of selecting list down here from the public list, I just use this custom online data list that's my pre-filtered list of securities. The reason I do that is it just makes it a little bit faster on a day-by-day basis. Okay, I ran this scan a little bit earlier. It took about 1.5 minutes to run through. Okay, the way that the report looks for this Doji Dynamite, if I just come in here and show it to you, I'll click on the report, you're going to have that same column view. So if I have a 1 in this column, it means that Tenet Healthcare, Sabra, Merck, Marathon Oil, and HSBC, they all had a Doji top pattern. Okay, the Doji best friend is in this category. So if that's what I'm looking for, Laser Robotics would be the chart I wanted to look at today. Then you've got your left-right bullish, your left-right bearish, your series of bearish, and your series of bullish. Okay, so if I want to open up this chart and look at it, again, this is my favorite pattern. I can just go ahead and out of this 2,400 stocks, instead of looking at all 2,400 of them, I can just look at this particular stock. It's a tremendous time saver. And then I can make a decision on whether it looks good or not. Let's go ahead, let's do that. Let's go ahead and open up the chart. I'm just going to click on the Open Chart button right here. And here's the chart of Laser Robotics. Now I want to apply Steve's studies to this. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on the chart. I'm going to go to Apply Template right here, and I'm just going to go to CPS. Everything in Steve's stuff starts with CPS, which just means Candle Profit Systems. Okay, and that'll just set up the chart the way I want it to look at. I just had to find CPS. So Bigalow chart view right here. I'm going to apply that to the chart. It's going to add all the moving averages to me. It's going to attach the expert advisor. And it's on a weekly chart. Let's change it down to daily. I'm like, why did not my chart not appear? Here's the Doji best friend. And now I can make, oh, that was a pretty good left-right bullet bearish that we had. This was okay. That wasn't too good. This bulk kicker, this J-hook. The patterns that you get out of this are so good. But right here we've got the Doji best friend. Okay, and we've got our enhancements. We can kind of take a look at it, kind of make a decision on whether we want to buy it. If we buy it, then we've got we'd know that we'd want to exit the trade if subsequent trading closes below the price, below the 80 MA. So if it ever goes below that T line, we want to get out, and any trading below the Doji signal. So if it closes down below this Doji line, we're out. If for some reason this Doji was above the T line, we'd get out there instead. So. And a few more questions. Will the software search for stocks demonstrating a specific characteristic? Oh, I think we answered that, yes. It will identify fry pan bottoms. Diana says, can I use Metastock for trading? Nope, keep your Schwab brokerage. What we focus on is really very simple. Our focus is providing you tools that help you make the decision on whether you should trade or not. You're more than welcome to use whoever you want to trade. We figured that by focusing on providing the best trading tool out there, that's been a really, really good strategy for you. Gary says the Nike should have been a buy signal in Nike on 1017 when the price broke the T-line 80 EMA. That wasn't one of the patterns that we were looking for. At least it didn't fit our definition. So there might have been a pattern that you could have bought back there. It did. It's not one that we actually identified with the pattern, with the product. So I'm not going to pretend it did. In any case. Jim says, has any analysis or backtesting been performed to determine which pattern works best? Nope. But the reason I like Doji Best Friend is Steve told me it was one of his favorite patterns, and it's the scan I run all the time at this point. Okay. The software does not do backward analysis, I guess. It does not second guess no. Okay. So any of these that occurred, like in the past, like you won't come in here tomorrow and this Doji Best Friend will be gone. It's looking for this sign of indecision. Steve explains it better than I do, but with the Doji Best Friend, what you're looking for is an indecisive doji bar followed by a gap up. That condition is always going to be there. None of these signals are going to go away just because they didn't happen to be right. And if we look back here, you'll find signals that aren't necessarily awesome. Like this left-right bullish combo wasn't great, but it did have a J hook a few days later. You'll find patterns that didn't work out. That's just the case, the way that it works. But none of this is going to repaint after the fact. As soon as this is a Doji Best Friend, it's going to be a Doji Best Friend. The only reason a bar will kind of have a signal that goes away is if you're looking at a bar that hasn't closed. Okay? Because if you're looking at a bar that hasn't closed, the parameters by the close might not be there anymore. So as long as you're making sure your bar is closed, this pattern will not go away. Okay. Ed says, when you scan for 2 or more criteria, where you will find the... Okay, that's a good question. So if you run 4 or 5 scans, like if you want to run all of these scans at the same time, just check mark them all. This little R designates that there's a report that you can look at for that scan. So if I right-click here and go to the report, there wasn't any J-hooks. So I didn't show you any J-hooks today because in that scan that I ran, there wasn't any J-hooks that signaled a pattern today. Okay? So all of these will have this little R, this single-day pattern. So when I showed you at the front, there's a report I can look at. So you just right-click on the scan and click on report, and that'll bring up the report if you've run multiple scans. It's very easy. Okay? I hope that answered your question, Ed. So in any case, I'm extremely proud of this product. I hope you guys kind of are a little bit impressed with it. It has been very popular. It's been rated, again, I think it's been available for 4 years, 5 years now. It's been rated one of the best add-on products, and not just for Metastock, for any product out there that does analysis like this by Stocks and Commodities, I think 3 times. Don't quote me on that though, but around 3 times. So it comes with the 4 CPS scans, plus the pre-filter exploration. You also get kind of the chart view and the chart layout. Sets up everything for you, pretty much everything that I've shown you today. These are all just charts in case I lose internet and I'm showing it in person or whatever. Again, all of the 20 patterns. What we do with this thing is it's a one-time cost. So normally, this is not the slide that I was looking for. I thought this was, in any case, the software cost for Candle Profit Systems is $4.99. Okay, if you buy it today, it's $3.99. Okay, and what you'll do to get it, since this slide, man, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you to where you want to go here. So let me go ahead and open up an internet browser. I'll show you how this offer works since I opened up the wrong PowerPoint slide. Okay, if you go to metastock.com/candlestickforum-A, the normal purchase price on this this product is normally $3.99. Okay, what we're doing for this special here, that's a one-time cost. You pay for it, you own it, that's it. Don't buy it again. $299 is what you'll pay for it. So you go ahead and check this box here. If you need a subscription to Metastock, you can either do a free trial to Metastock DC or real-time. DC means daily charts. What that means is the charts will open up an update once an hour during the day, and you'll be able to do analysis on daily, weekly, monthly charts. Okay, that starts at $59 a month, and you can try it right there. We also have a real-time version, so if you want to do intraday analysis, if you want to be able to look at real-time streaming charts during the day, you'll do the real-time subscription, and you'll just check mark this option, which ranges in price from $199 to $250. Again, your first month is free. Okay. The thing is what we're going to do as part of this is we'll do a money-back guarantee. So if for any reason you don't think this is going to be helpful for what you're doing, you don't like it, you can just basically get in touch with us. We'll give you a refund on this $299, and we'll cancel your subscription. Your risk reward is literally nothing to try it out. So the link for that, I'm just going to, Becky, thank you, www.metastock.com/candlestick forum A. Okay. Carol asked a question. What was that about buying the software? There is an option to buy the software. Okay. And I would recommend that you, if you're doing just stocks, that you look at that as an option. So for example, if you want to just buy the software and use it with your TC2000 data, you can pay a one-time cost and own Metastock for life. Okay. It doesn't come with data, but the cost on Metastock as a one-time cost is $449 as a one-time cost. So what I would recommend that you do is try it on this offer. It's only $300. If you decide you want to buy Metastock, what you can do is get in touch with one of our sales guys, and they can help you decide on whether or not Metastock is better as a purchase for you or as a subscription. Because depending on who you're using for data and what type of data you need, for some people the subscription will work out cheaper as a cheaper option over for people that trade stocks and futures, for example, almost a better option. So what I'd recommend that you do is try the Candle Profit System, $299, pay for it as a one-time cost, do the free trial to Metastock, and once you decide, hey, this is worth it, I can see why this tool has been rated #1 since, not every year since, I think it was like 1994, well, then you can figure out the best way for you to buy it at that point. Paul says, I got kicked out. I'm sorry, I didn't kick you out, Paul. Got back in on a different seed. Did you talk about scanning for % gain over the last 1 or 2 hours? You can do that with the real-time version of Metastock. It goes a little bit, you'd have to do a custom formula for that, but it's definitely something that you can do. Metastock is very functional. What I would recommend, just because it takes us a little bit further away from the presentation than we're going, is get in touch with our sales department, and they can kind of talk to you a little bit about how you would set that up. You can chat online with them at metastock.com/saleschat. Shell asks, what's the upgrade cost from 9.1? It's actually $199 right now on a, I think that's on our holiday special. So get in touch with us and we can kind of hook you up with that, Shell, as we were talking about earlier. John says, are updates included if purchased? We haven't ever done an update to CPS. I'm going to be shooting to do one, and the reason I've always given is I don't know what we'd add. We did such a good job with programming this product out. There are some things that I do want to add, and I'll tell you what those are. To be very, very frank, the single-day patterns I want to incorporate a little bit better into the product because Steve uses them a lot more than my knowledge of what Steve is doing has changed, and it seems like there's something that would really fit well in there. And there's a couple of other patterns that I want to add. I'm shooting to have an update in March, and yeah, if you buy it or if you came to the webinar, even if there's a bit of an upgrade fee and you get it today, I'll make sure you get the upgrade for free. Okay. AJ says, can I use this in TC2000? No, you need to use it in Metastock, but you can use your TC2000 data with Metastock if you want to, AJ. Okay. So metastock.com/candlestick4MA. That's what I had for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get a hold of me, if you have questions, feel free to email me at Jeffrey gary.gibby@metastack.com right there in the chat there. Looks like I wasn't quite up to date in my questions. Good presentation. Yes, Paul, it's possible with thinkorswim data. I'm not 100% sure on that. If you can save your data locally with thinkorswim, you can use it with Metastock. Okay. Let's go up here and see if you're welcome, Gary. Thanks for the thing. Diana says, if I get CPS, could I use that with your Schwab platform? Yes, as long as you have Metastock as well. You're welcome, Gary. I hope I was able to answer most. Carol, this offer, I'm not really, Carol says, how long do we have to buy this today? Just get it. Don't put it off too much into the future. There's not really a huge, I think the deadline is 12/20 for the offer. But in any case, give it a go. The risk reward on there is there. You pay for it, you basically get a money back guarantee. If you don't like it for whatever reason, you get your money back. So give it a go. I've gotten such good feedback on this thing. To get a total systems, we need CPS and Metastock and a data feed. Yes. And so to kind of go through those costs, it's $299 now, one-time cost. That gives you Steve Bigalow forever. If you want the DC version of Metastock, you're going to get a free trial of that to evaluate CPS. The CPS does come with a recording where Steve and I sat down and did a 40-minute intro on how to kind of go through and do the scanning step by step and how that worked. That 40-minute demo is available for you as soon as you place your order. You can go ahead and start downloading the products. And what I do is I sit down and say, okay, here's how you open up the charts. Here's how you applied Steve's templates. Here's how you run the scans. Here's how you do the pre-filter scans. Here's how you set everything up. So it's a 40-minute training session that's made available to you immediately as soon as you purchase as a free bonus. If you decide that it's helpful for you, you'll pay about $59 per month for Metastock and data. That data, when you sign up for that, you'll say, I'm in North America, I want North American data, or I'm in Europe and I want Europe, Middle East, and Africa, or I'm in Asia Pac and I want to get Asia Pacific data. That'll all be included with that. Okay. So that's all you need. You're welcome, Jack. You're welcome, Carol. Try it out. If you have questions, if you need something from me, one of the things that's also a little bit that I like to tell people is if you ever have a question, I get such good feedback from our support team. You might find this interesting. I find it cool. We have actually more people in our support team than we have in sales and marketing put together. You can get a hold of them during U.S. market hours by chat, by phone, and by email. And if they need to, they could get on your machine to help you. But if you ever kind of need help, get a hold of our support team because they can help you figure out what it is you need to do if you need help with the scanning and that kind of stuff. Carol, you need data. You do need data to run Metastock. So generally speaking, this offer will include the data you need to get going. Okay. I get a lot of questions, can I use Metastock without the data? Well, you do need data from somewhere. You really can't drive a car without gas, right? So that's kind of the false equivalency, if you would, that I'll give to that. Gary wants to look at one more chart. You're okay. All right. CHDX. Is that right? CHDX. If you use, I'm not sure thinkorswim data will work. I'm not seeing CHDX here. Do you know what that is? Yeah, maybe not on that one, Gary. I'm not sure if thinkorswim data will work or not. If thinkorswim offers the capability to save data to your hard drive, it's most likely that you can use it with thinkorswim data. Okay. For our sales guys might be able to answer that question. But for the purpose of the trial, it includes data. So give it a go, and then you can play with Thinkorswim and see if you can get the data to work with it. Okay. Cryptocurrencies, you can apply the same feed to it. That $59 a month, you'll get access to cryptocurrency pairs. Diana, that's a really good question. You can use Metastock on a Mac computer. The thing is that it does require that you have Windows installed. So you have to use Parallels or Boot Camp or one of those types of solutions. GHDX, okay, I'll try that one. You promise, Gary? GHDX, okay, GHDX. Okay, Geonomic Health. You're welcome. You're welcome. And when you do that, to keep answering that Apple computer question, I think I have ADD, or it's late, or both. Most likely both. Holy chart, that man. You had a 5-pan bottom today on GHDX. That is a ridiculous chart. There you go. There's a bear kicker yesterday, but a fairly large 5-pan bottom today on GHDX. Yeah, I find that if you're using Windows 7 or Windows 10, generally it works really, really well on a Mac. Since they switched over to Intel chipsets, it's really, really an easy solution. Yay! We got the fry pan bottom. Okay. All right, guys. So anyway, the link for that, again, I want to thank you guys for coming. The link to sign up for that is metastock.com/candlestickforuma. If you're not sick of me yet, you can watch this little 10-minute video that I put together on the product. Down here at the bottom, you'll actually do the order. I want to say thank you for Steve for his friendship, providing me some really awesome trading signals that I actually even use, and all the friendship over the years. He's such a great guy. Anyway, I will stop gushing. I want to say thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you at the next webinar. And I'm going to go play with my kids. Thanks. Oh, the video, Mark, is at the very top of the page, right here. All right. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jeff. Everybody, take a look at the information, because we constantly get questions on how do we scan for the best trades. It's all right there in Metastock. It's all been put together for you. And Metastock has other advantages that you won't find in other scanning services, such as they've got feeds for whatever market you want to trade, whether it's, as Jeff said, the Asian markets, the European markets, or the currencies. It's all there. You can get to it. So I tell people, Metastock is probably the best scanning software out there, with one major flaw. And that flaw is that there is so many good things that you can apply in the and as far as the technical information on Metastock, you'll never get a chance to investigate them all. So, but fortunately, it gives you enough that no matter what you want to do as far as setting up your own scans or fine-tuning your scans, they've got more good information than you'll ever be able to use. So with that, everybody have a good evening. Stay out of the snow. Jeff, thank you very much. We'll see everybody in the chat rooms.